All right, today we're going to be talking about why ignoring your ex is so powerful, but probably not for the reasons that you might be thinking. Hey there, it's Clay with modernlove.life. Now, I've been helping people with breakups and getting back together with their exes, on YouTube at least, since 2011, and on the other part of the internet since 2009. And during this whole time, a lot of people have come and gone. There have been a lot of coaches that have come and gone, and a lot of them have recommended the no contact rule. Some have even claimed to have invented it themselves. No, they have not. I remember hearing about the no contact rule myself many years before all of them were even coaches, or maybe even finished high school. Back when I was going through my own versions of breakups back in the early 2000s. People were talking about it then on a relationship advice forum I used to go to. I'm not even sure if it's still around anymore. There's this whole idea of no contact, how you know it's super important, you got to do it, just trust the process. Just do no contact, your ex will miss you, they'll come crawling over broken shards of glass to beg for you back and all that sort of stuff. And like, this is not another video about that. You know, you've probably seen enough videos about that. But there is a power to doing this. And I want to talk to you about that. Not being in contact with your ex is important. Not because it shows them that you don't care or that you don't need them or anything like that. But because it allows you to take back responsibility for your own life. You know, when we're going through a breakup, we often find ourselves in damage control mode. You know, we've talked about that before. If this is the first video of mine you're watching, you probably don't need me to tell you what damage control mode is. You probably know what it is. You've probably felt that panicked state where you just don't know which way is up and all that sort of stuff. And from this place, you know, you can feel fundamentally disempowered. You can feel like your ex holds all the power, like they have all the cards, and you're just trying to appease them in some sort of way. But when you stop talking to your ex, you can kind of take back some amount of power for yourself. Not as if this is some sort of zero-sum power game where you have to like dominate them into complying with you or anything like that, as you know, some people might suggest. But simply because you need to fill yourself up. You need to know that you're going to be able to handle life with or without them. That you can, you know, stare into infinity without flinching and know that you're going to be able to make it no matter what. And when you can get this, when you are able to really know that you're going to be okay, even if the two of you don't work out, that you're going to be okay, regardless of what happens, then you're going to be in a much better place emotionally speaking, okay? So I really want you to consider that. Of course, you don't need to do no contact to do that. If you can, you know, do that through other means as well too, that we've talked about as well too on this channel, such as way of being, meditation, all that sort of stuff. But that is definitely one of the powers of using no contact. The next thing as well too is it gets you out of this state of reacting to things. That is to say, many times people are just reacting to their ex, even if they think that they're not, they actually are. Of course, there's the reacting of like, okay, you're in damage control mode, you're begging, you're pleading, you're doing all this stuff, you're begging for forgiveness and all of that. But there's also other forms of just reacting as well too. Like so many times people will reach out to me and say like, hey, like what do I say to my ex for this to happen? Or my ex said this, what do I do? And, you know, sure, we might have a conversation and say, okay, yeah, well, maybe you should say this or maybe you should say that. But then they just say, okay, yeah, well, what do I do if they say this? What do I do if they respond this way? What if I do if they don't respond? And that person is still reacting. That person is still reacting to their ex. They're just waiting for their ex to do something, and then they're going to say, what am I going to do next? What is my ex going to do? And then what am I going to do after that? What if my ex does this? What do I do then? What if my ex does this other thing? And they're just trying to plan out a variety of just different contingency plans. Of course you want to be prepared, yeah. Everything that you're doing is just based off of, hey, what's my ex going to do? And then how am I going to react to it? Then you're just in reaction mode, right? You even there's these people that, you know, advocate that you play mind games, reverse psychology, pretend that, play hard to get, all that sort of stuff. That is also reacting as well too. You're basically just putting on a performance for the sake of getting the right reaction out of your ex. You're saying, oh, well, they are not behaving the way that I want them to. Therefore, I need to put on this performance and pretend that I'm disinterested, pretend that, I've got like a million other people begging to date me or something like that. And then they're going to, respond the right way. That's reacting as well too. And what I want is I want you to get into a place where you can actually be proactive about how you're showing up in the world around you. And that brings us to our third point, which is being out of contact with your ex actually allows you to as well focus on improving your way of being. Now, many times when we are in damage control mode, or when we are going through a breakup that is against our will, we may feel not so great emotionally. We may be bringing a lot of pain, a lot of regret, a lot of deep emotional wounds to the surface, like feelings of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve love, things like that. Even self-fulfilling prophecies like, oh, people always let me down in the end. I always knew this was going to happen. Things like that. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Things like that, right? And that's fine if you like the results that those mindsets and those beliefs are bringing to you. But if you don't like those results, then you might want to change your way of being, because how you bring yourself to life, to not just with your relationship and your ex, but to just life in general, is going to be reflected back to you, right? Like you meet these people sometimes and they're like, oh, I just knew that person was going to let me down. I just knew that this was going to be disappointing in some way, right? It's because this person has embodied disappointment to the point where they just bring disappointment to them to the world everywhere that they go. And when you do this, of course, disappointment is going to be reflected back to you because you are embodying disappointment. And so the world will show you more things to be disappointed about. What if instead we were to turn this whole dynamic around and say, what if I was to embody trust, love, connection, and everywhere I went, I was going to experience things that would affirm to me that I'm worthy of love, that I could go places and do things and have things reflected back to me that would affirm to me that I can trust myself, that I can trust the world around me, that I can trust other people. You would have a very different experience. Would you not agree? So we want to be very mindful about this, because if you're bringing pain and disappointment and rejection and I'm not enough and anxiety and all this sort of stuff to your interactions with your ex, it will be reflected back to you. It absolutely will be. And many times being out of contact can be very powerful because it gives you the opportunity to choose, to take a time out and say, okay, hey, what do I actually want for myself here? Can I choose something else instead? And then can I just powerfully move forward in whatever the next thing might be for me? With that being said, I want to ask you, what are you doing right now that is empowering for you? Go ahead and leave a comment down below in the comment section. And then after that, check out this video series over here on emotional healing after a breakup. Please take care, and I'll talk to you next time.